I always believed my family would never betray me. Work could disappoint me. Friends could leave. Strangers could lie. But my home always felt safe. Every evening I walked through my front door expecting laughter, familiar voices, and peace. That certainty slowly disappeared during the last few months, and I kept convincing myself nothing was wrong. I blamed middle school. I blamed hormones. I blamed growing up. Lily had turned 12, and everyone told me daughters became quiet at that age. You worry too much, Michael always laughed. I know, I answered. She's growing up. Exactly. Give her space. I've been trying. Then keep trying. Michael had been my best friend for 20 years. We met in college, stood beside each other at our weddings, celebrated promotions together, and promised our children would always know each other like cousins. When my wife traveled for work, Michael visited often. I'm only checking on you too, he always said. I appreciate it. Someone has to make sure you don't burn dinner. I only burned it once. 3 times. It was twice. He laughed. You still can't cook. I survive. Barely. His visits never seemed strange. Until Lily changed. Dad, I'm doing homework. Need any help? No. You sure? I'm fine. Every answer became shorter. Every smile became smaller. Every hug disappeared. One evening I knocked on her bedroom door. Can I come in? I'm changing. Okay. We can talk later. Promise. Maybe. That single word stayed with me. Maybe. Not yes. Not no. Just maybe. I stood outside her door wondering where my little girl had gone. The following Friday, Michael stopped by carrying pizza. I brought dinner. Perfect timing. Where's Lily? In her room. I'll get her. I can. It's okay. Before I could stop him, he walked upstairs. I smiled to myself. He had always been good with kids. 5 minutes passed. Then another. I headed upstairs, thinking they were probably arguing about toppings. As I reached the hallway, I heard whispers. I wasn't trying to eavesdrop. I simply froze because I heard my name. Dad can't know, Lily whispered. I know, Michael answered softly. I'm scared he'll find out the truth. My heart stopped. It'll be okay. What if he figures it out? He won't. You promise? I promise. I couldn't breathe. My hand tightened against the hallway wall. What truth? Why was my daughter scared? Why was Michael promising to hide something from me? I stepped forward before I could think. What truth? The bedroom door swung open. Lily jumped. Michael looked stunned. Ethan, he said. I stared at both of them. What truth? Lily looked at Michael. Michael forced a smile. We were talking about your birthday. My birthday isn't for 6 months. He hesitated, planning early. I turned toward Lily. What were you scared I'd find out? She swallowed hard. The surprise. What surprise? She looked down. I don't know. Michael interrupted. She means the gift. What gift? We haven't bought it yet. I frowned. So you're hiding a gift that doesn't exist. Silence. Then Lily suddenly spoke. I was talking about school. I blinked. School. Yes. Michael looked confused. The science project. I looked back at him. I thought it was my birthday. So did I, Lily whispered. Nothing matched. Not one answer. The room felt colder. I looked at Michael. We've known each other 20 years. I know. So tell me the truth. I already did. No, you didn't. He crossed his arms. You're reading too much into this. I looked at Lily. Honey. She wouldn't meet my eyes. I just don't want you upset. About what? I don't know. You don't know? She shook her head without speaking. For the first time in my life, my daughter looked afraid of me. Not because I had yelled. Not because I had punished her. Because she was hiding something. I forced myself to stay calm. Okay, I said quietly. No one's in trouble. Neither answered. I trust both of you. The words tasted bitter the moment they left my mouth. Michael nodded. Good. We'll eat downstairs. Sounds good. I walked out before either of them could see my face. Inside, everything was falling apart. Downstairs, I set the table while my hands trembled. Michael came first. Lily followed several steps behind. Nobody spoke. Finally, I asked, "Pepperoni?" "Sure," Michael answered. "Lily, I'm not hungry. You have to eat something. I'm tired." She carried one slice upstairs without another word. Michael sighed. Teenagers. I looked directly at him. She's 12. Same difference? No. He looked away. Dinner ended quickly. As he grabbed his jacket, he smiled. "See you tomorrow." I forced one back. "Maybe." He paused. "Everything okay?" "Of course." "You seem upset." "I'm just tired." "Get some rest." "I will." After he left, I locked the front door and stood in the silent living room. The house looked exactly the same. Family photos still covered the walls. Lily's backpack still rested beside the stairs. Nothing had changed, yet everything had. I replayed every whispered word. "Dad can't know. I'm scared he'll find out the truth." Those sentences echoed inside my head. I wanted answers. I wanted honesty. Most of all, I wanted to believe there was an innocent explanation. But my instincts refused to stay quiet. I decided I would not confront either of them again. Not yet. From that moment forward, I would watch every conversation, every glance, every excuse, and every secret. Whatever truth they were hiding from me, I would uncover it myself. I barely slept after overhearing that conversation. Every time I closed my eyes, I heard Lily whisper again, "Dad can't know. I'm scared he'll find out the truth." By morning, I had convinced myself to stay calm. No accusations, no emotional outbursts. Just watch. Just listen. Just wait. At breakfast, Lily quietly poured cereal into her bowl. "Morning," I said. "Morning. Sleep okay?" "A little. You look tired. I have a math quiz." "You will do great." "I hope so." She forced a tiny smile before looking down again. A few minutes later, her phone vibrated. She glanced at the screen. Then she immediately turned it over. I pretended not to notice. "Who's texting so early?" "A friend." "Which friend?" "Just someone from school." "Oh." She stood. "I should leave." "I can drive you." "The bus is fine." "You always let me drive." "I want the bus today." Without waiting for another question, she grabbed her backpack and hurried outside. I watched through the window until the bus disappeared. My chest tightened. Nothing about that felt normal. Around noon, Michael called. Hey, everything all right?" "Why wouldn't it be?" "You sounded strange yesterday." "I was tired." "You still thinking about that conversation?" "I haven't stopped." He laughed softly. "Ethan, you're chasing ghosts." "Am I?" "Yes." "There wasn't anything to hide." "Then why didn't your stories match?" "We got nervous." "About a birthday surprise." "Exactly." I stayed silent. "Ethan, I'm listening. You trust me, don't you?" "I always have." "Then believe me." "I want to." "You should." The call ended, but his reassurance somehow made me even less comfortable. If nothing was wrong, why did every explanation sound rehearsed? That afternoon, I parked near Lily's school. I felt guilty. I had never followed my daughter before, but I couldn't ignore my instincts anymore. Students poured through the front gates. Lily appeared carrying her backpack. Instead of walking toward the bus stop, she crossed the street. Michael was waiting beside his car. I ducked lower in my seat. She climbed inside. They drove away. My pulse pounded. I followed several cars behind. They stopped outside a small cafe. Neither went inside. They stayed in the parked car talking. 20 minutes. 30. Then Lily hugged him. I gripped the steering wheel. "What is happening?" I whispered. Eventually, Michael drove her home. He arrived only minutes before I did. When I entered the house, Lily looked startled. "Dad." "Hi. How was work?" "Busy." Michael stood beside the kitchen counter. Perfect timing. "Really? I was just leaving." "So soon?" "Yeah." I looked at Lily. "Did you have a good day?" "It was okay." "Anything interesting happen?" "No." "You came straight home." Yes. The lie landed between us. I knew exactly where she had been. She knew I didn't know, or at least she thought I didn't. That evening my phone rang. It was my youngest sister, Rachel. Hey, big brother. Hi. You sound terrible. I've had a rough week. Want company? I wouldn't mind. Half an hour later, she arrived carrying coffee. She studied my face. You look exhausted. I feel worse. What happened? I hesitated. Then everything spilled out. I told her about the whispers, the changing stories, the cafe, the lies. Rachel listened quietly. Finally, she asked, have you actually caught them doing something wrong? No. Then what have you caught? Secrets. Secrets aren't always betrayal. They are hiding something. Maybe. I know it. She leaned forward. Ethan, trust disappears very quickly once doubt enters your heart. I know. And once that happens, every innocent moment starts looking guilty. I understand. So breathe. I can't. Why not? Because every answer creates another question. She squeezed my hand. Then don't invent answers before you have facts. I'll try. Promise me. I promise. After she left, I sat alone in the living room. Upstairs, I heard Lily crying. Quietly. Softly. I almost went to her room. Instead, I stayed where I was. A few minutes later, another phone vibrated upstairs. The crying stopped. Footsteps crossed her bedroom floor. Then silence. The next morning, Michael appeared again. You look awful, he said. I didn't sleep. You're obsessing. I'm paying attention. There's nothing to find. Then why are you always here? He laughed. Because you're my best friend. You weren't here this much before. I thought you needed help. I never asked. You didn't have to. His smile never reached his eyes. Before leaving, he looked directly at me. Ethan. What? Stop looking for problems. I'm not. Good. The front door closed. I immediately looked through the window. Instead of driving away, he texted someone. Seconds later, Lily's phone buzzed upstairs. I heard it. Then I heard her bedroom door lock. My stomach dropped. I quietly walked outside after Michael finally left. He was gone. I returned inside and stared toward the second floor. Every instinct screamed that I should confront her, demand the truth, end the lies. Instead, I picked up a notebook from my desk. I wrote down dates, times, phone calls, meetings, excuses, contradictions. If my suspicions were wrong, I would happily throw every page away. But if they were right, emotions alone would never reveal the truth. Facts would. Until then, I would stay patient. I would keep watching, because deep inside, I no longer believed I was uncovering a simple family secret. I was beginning to fear something much bigger was hiding in plain sight. I spent Saturday morning cleaning my home office. Normally, I hated organizing paperwork, but keeping busy stopped my mind from replaying the whispers I had overheard. Bills, insurance forms, tax records, nothing unusual. Then I reached the bottom drawer of my old desk. A stack of faded financial papers slid sideways. Something caught underneath. A letter. I frowned. The envelope looked old. My name was written across the front in careful handwriting. Ethan Parker. No stamp. No mailing address. Just my name. My heartbeat quickened. Why have I never seen this? The seal had yellowed with age. Someone had hidden it. I carefully opened it. Inside was a single handwritten page. The first line made my stomach tighten. If you're reading this, then the truth has waited far longer than I hoped. I continued reading. Someone close to you has carried this burden for years. My hands began shaking. Please don't judge anyone before you understand why certain promises were made. I turned the page over. Nothing else. No signature. No date. Only one final sentence near the bottom. Your father believed protecting innocent people mattered more than revealing painful truths. I stared at the words for several minutes. What promises? What truth? Who wrote this? Footsteps echoed upstairs. I quickly folded the letter and slipped it into my pocket. Lily called down. Dad. Yeah. Can I go to Emma's house? For homework. Yes. What time will you be back? Before dinner. Okay. She hurried downstairs. For 1 second our eyes met. She looked exhausted. Dad, what is it? I. She stopped. What? Nothing. You sure? Yeah. She walked out before saying another word. My office suddenly felt smaller. The letter burned inside my pocket. There was only one person I could think of. Mr. Harrison. He had handled my parents' legal affairs for decades. After my father passed away, he attended every family gathering, though mostly as an old friend. If anyone knew what that letter meant, it would be him. An hour later I knocked on his office door. The elderly receptionist smiled. Mr. Parker. Is Mr. Harrison available? I'll ask. Moments later his familiar voice called out. Ethan. I stepped inside. He smiled warmly. It's been too long. I wish this were a social visit. His smile faded. Sit down. I placed the letter on his desk. His eyes widened immediately. Where did you find this? In my desk. You opened it. It was addressed to me. He slowly removed his glasses. I hoped you would never find it. So you know about it? Yes. Who wrote it? He stayed silent. I deserve answers. I know. Then tell me. He folded his hands. I can't. Why not? Because I gave my word. To who? He looked toward the window. Your father. The room became perfectly still. My father? Yes. What promise? I promised to protect something until the proper time. What proper time? I cannot answer that. I leaned forward. Was he hiding something from me? He was protecting people. Who? Innocent people. From what? Pain. His calm voice frustrated me even more. I'm already in pain. I know. Then help me. I wish I could. You can. No. Why? Because once certain truths are spoken, they cannot be taken back. I clenched my fists. So everyone else knows except me. I didn't say that. You didn't deny it. He sighed deeply. Your father loved you more than anything. I know. Everything he did came from love. Keeping secrets doesn't feel like love. Sometimes it is. I don't believe that. You may one day. I picked up the letter. Is this connected to Lily? His expression changed for only a second. It was enough. You know something. I know many things. Does Michael know? Another silence. That silence answered me. I stood. So he does. Ethan. No. Please. I'm tired of everyone protecting me. He slowly rose from his chair. I'm not protecting you. Then what are you doing? I'm protecting promises. I walked toward the door. Before leaving, I heard him quietly say, be careful how you search for the truth. I didn't answer. Driving home, my phone rang. Michael. I ignored it. It rang again. Then again. Finally I answered. What? Where are you? Out. I've been trying to reach you. I'm busy. Did Lily call you? No. Good. I frowned. Why good? No reason. There's always a reason. He hesitated. She almost said something today. My grip tightened around the steering wheel. Said what? I can't explain over the phone. Try. It isn't the right time. There it is again. What? The right time? Silence. Michael. I have to go. Don't hang up. The call ended. I immediately turned the car toward home. When I arrived, I quietly entered through the garage. Voices drifted from the kitchen. Lily sounded upset. I don't want to keep lying. You have to, Michael whispered. I hate this. I know. He deserves the truth. Not yet. When? Soon. You keep saying that. I need more time. I'm scared. So am I. I stayed hidden behind the doorway. Every word deepened the mystery. This wasn't about a surprise. This wasn't about school. This wasn't even about me alone. Somehow my late father, an undelivered letter, Mr. Harrison, Michael, and my frightened daughter were all connected by the same invisible thread. For the first time in my life, I began questioning not only the people around me but every story I had ever believed about my own family. Whatever truth waited ahead, it had started long before I was ready to hear it. I could not ignore Mr. Harrison's warning anymore. Every answer I found only created another mystery. The letter, my father's promise, Michael's silence, Lily's fear. Nothing fit together. The next morning I drove back to Mr. Harrison's office without calling first. He looked surprised when I walked in. "Ethan, we're not finished." He slowly closed the file on his desk. "I suspected you'd return. I need the truth. You need patience." "I've run out of patience." He studied my face for a long moment. Finally he sighed. "Sit down." I remained standing. "No, as you wish." He removed a small wooden box from a cabinet. "I never wanted this responsibility." "Then stop carrying it. It's not that simple." "It is for me." He looked down. "Your mother came to see me 3 weeks before she died." My breathing stopped. "My mother?" Margaret was frightened. "About what?" "She believed something terrible might happen." I swallowed. "What did she do?" "She prepared letters." "I only found one." "There were several." "Where are they?" "I cannot tell you." Frustration exploded inside me. Why does everyone keep saying they can't tell me? Because promises matter. What about the truth? They sometimes conflict. I leaned against his desk. "What did my mother ask?" He spoke quietly. "She asked Michael's parents to protect a family secret if anything ever happened to her." I stared at him. "Michael's parents?" "Yes." "Not my relatives?" "No. Not me." "You were too young." "I wasn't a child forever." "No." "Then why wasn't I told later?" "That decision wasn't mine." I shook my head. My own parents trusted another family more than their own son. They trusted people who could keep a promise. His words felt like another betrayal. "So Thomas Carter agreed?" "Yes." "And Michael inherited that promise?" Mr. Harrison slowly nodded. "He never asked for it." "I didn't ask to be lied to." "I know." "Then tell me everything." "I cannot." "What are you still hiding?" "The part that isn't mine to reveal." I laughed bitterly. "Everyone owns one piece of the truth." "Perhaps." "And I'm the only person left in the dark." "I'm sorry." "Sorry doesn't change anything." I grabbed my jacket and headed toward the door. As I reached it, I heard another voice. "Dad!" I froze. Lily stood in the hallway. Her eyes were wide. "Lily." She looked terrified. I didn't mean to listen." "How long have you been here?" I heard Grandma's name. My heart sank. "What else did you hear?" She lowered her head. "Enough." Mr. Harrison quietly stood. "I'll leave you two alone." The office door closed behind him. I looked at Lily. "Why are you here?" "I followed you." "Why?" "I was worried." "Worried about what?" "You keep looking for answers." "Because nobody will give me any." She covered her face. "I'm sorry." "For what?" "I can't tell you." I felt anger rising again. "Everyone keeps saying that." "I know." "Lily." She started crying. "I promised." "To who?" "I can't." "You can." "I really can't." I reached toward her shoulder. She stepped back. "I don't want you to hate me." "Hate you?" "I never wanted this." My voice softened. "Then help me." She shook her head. "I'm sorry." She ran from the office before I could stop her. I stood frozen. Minutes later my phone rang. "Michael." I answered immediately. "Where's Lily?" "She just left." "I know." "She called me." "So you already knew." "Is she okay?" "Why don't you ask her yourself?" "Ethan." "No. I need you to listen." "I've been listening for weeks." "You don't understand." "Then explain." He remained silent. I laughed without humor. "Exactly." Finally he spoke. "I made a promise." "I know." "My father made it first." "I know that too." "I couldn't break it." "You could have trusted me." "It wasn't my decision." "It became your decision every single day you kept lying." "I wasn't lying." "You hid the truth." "I protected it." "There's no difference anymore." "There is." Then tell me. I can't. Why? Because your mother believed this was the only way. His words echoed inside my head. My mother. Yes. You expect me to believe she wanted everyone to deceive me? No. Then what? She wanted you protected. From what? I can't answer. I closed my eyes. Do you realize what you've done? I do. You've made me question every memory I have. I'm sorry. I don't want apologies. I know. I want honesty. So do I. Then choose it. I wish I could. The call ended. I drove home alone. The silence inside the house felt heavier than ever. I wandered into the attic searching for anything connected to my parents. Old boxes covered every corner. Photo albums, school papers, Christmas decorations. Near the back wall, I found a faded cardboard box labeled Simply Family. I opened it. Inside rested dozens of photographs. Birthday parties, vacations, graduations, smiling faces. Then one picture slipped onto the floor. I picked it up. My breath caught instantly. It showed my parents standing beside Thomas and his wife. Michael was there as a little boy. I was no older than 3. But that wasn't what shocked me. My mother was holding a baby. I assumed it was me. Then I looked closer. I was already standing beside my father. The baby couldn't be me. I turned the photograph over with trembling hands. Written neatly across the back were 6 words that shattered everything I believed about my childhood. The day we brought her home forever. I stared at the photograph until my hands began trembling. The day we brought her home forever. Not me. Not anyone I recognized. Just one word that shattered every memory I trusted. I heard quiet footsteps behind me. Dad! I turned. Lily stood at the attic door. Her eyes were red from crying. She looked at the photograph in my hands. You found it. My heart sank. You knew about this. She slowly nodded. For how long? She whispered. Almost 5 months. I closed my eyes. So that's the secret. She started crying again. I'm sorry. I walked toward her. No, I should have told you. Then why didn't you? I was scared. Scared of me. No. Then what? Scared of hurting you. I sat on an old storage box. Come here. She slowly walked closer. I held up the photograph. Tell me everything. She wiped her tears. It started because of a school project. What project? Our family history. I remember. My teacher wanted birth records, old pictures, and family documents. So you searched the attic? Yes. What did you find? At first, nothing strange. Then, I found Grandma's old file box. I listened without interrupting. There were hospital papers. What kind? I didn't understand them. So what did you do? I searched the names online. My pulse quickened. And I found records that didn't match our family. What records? She looked down. Grandma had another baby. The words hit me like a punch. Before I was born. Yes. I couldn't speak. I thought it was a mistake. So did I. What happened next? I showed Michael. I frowned. Why him? I didn't know what to do. What did he say? He looked shocked. And he asked me not to tell you. My chest tightened. Why? He said we didn't know enough. He decided that himself. No, he called someone. Who? Mr. Harrison. Everything connected at once. What happened after that? They both said the records might be incomplete. So they started checking. Yes. They wanted proof before telling me. She nodded. They were afraid. Afraid of what? That we would destroy our family over something that wasn't true. I covered my face with my hands. Months. I had spent months believing something terrible about Michael. I remembered every suspicious look, every hidden conversation, every sleepless night, every accusation inside my own head, all because they were trying to protect me. I looked at Lily. Why didn't you tell me after you found more evidence? She shook her head. Michael kept saying we were still missing important pieces. So you waited. I hated waiting. I know. I wanted to tell you every day. She burst into tears again. I felt like I was lying to you. I immediately hugged her. You carried this alone. I'm sorry. No, I made everything worse. No, sweetheart. I thought you hated me. Those words broke my heart. I could never hate you. I saw how you looked at me. I held her tighter. I was confused. I know. I should have trusted you. She looked up. Really? I spent months imagining the worst. I'm sorry. No, this isn't your fault. She rested her head against my shoulder. I'm so tired. I know. I don't want any more secrets. Neither do I. After several quiet minutes, I asked, where did the documents come from? She reached into her backpack. I kept copies. She handed me a folder. Inside were photocopies of birth records, hospital forms, handwritten notes. Every page mentioned my mother. None mentioned my father. I carefully flipped through everything. One name appeared several times. Rebecca Stone. Who's Rebecca? Lily answered, genealogy researcher. You contacted her? Michael did. Without telling me. She nodded. What did she find? She said some records were real. Some. She couldn't verify all of them. So they are still missing pieces. Yes. I immediately picked up my phone. I need to speak with her. Lily nodded. I have her number. She handed me another paper. I called. A calm woman answered. Rebecca Stone speaking. My name is Ethan Parker. There was a brief silence. I've been expecting your call. You know who I am. Michael warned me this day might come. I need answers. I understand. Can we meet? Tomorrow morning. Will you tell me everything? I'll tell you everything the records can prove. And the rest. We're still searching. I thanked her and ended the call. Lily watched me quietly. What now? We keep looking. What if the truth hurts? It probably will. She took a deep breath. I'm scared. So am I. She smiled sadly. At least we're scared together now. I smiled for the first time in weeks. Yes. That evening Michael knocked on my front door. I opened it before he could ring again. He looked exhausted. I know Lily told you. She did. He lowered his head. I suppose you hate me. I surprised both of us by shaking my head. I don't. You don't. I understand why you waited. He looked genuinely relieved. I never wanted to deceive you. I know. I was trying to protect you. I believe you. I'm sorry. So am I. For what? For assuming the worst. He sighed deeply. I can't blame you. I accused you in my own mind every day. You had reasons. I should have trusted our friendship. We're both paying for promises made before either of us had a choice. I nodded. Then let's stop protecting old secrets. I wish it were that easy. It has to be. He looked directly at me. Tomorrow may change everything you believe about your family. I think yesterday already did. As he left, I looked once more at the photograph resting on my table. For months I had searched for betrayal. Instead, I had uncovered a forgotten chapter of my mother's life. The answers were finally beginning to appear, but the biggest question still remained. What had happened to the child my mother had once brought home forever? I hardly slept before meeting Rebecca Stone. Every question I had carried for months seemed ready to receive an answer. Lily sat beside me during the drive. She quietly asked, "Are you ready?" I shook my head. No, neither am I. Michael followed us in his own car. For the first time in weeks, his presence no longer felt threatening. It felt necessary. Rebecca welcomed us into her office. "Mr. Parker, please call me Ethan." She smiled gently. "Of course." She looked at Lily. "You've been very brave." Lily lowered her eyes. "I didn't feel brave." Rebecca motioned towards several folders. I verified every document I could. I sat down. "Please don't leave anything out." "I won't." She opened the first folder. "Your mother became pregnant before she met your father." I stayed silently. The baby was a boy. My throat tightened. What happened? Rebecca sighed. Her family believed the pregnancy would destroy her future. So they forced her. They pressured her relentlessly. Did she want to keep him? Very much. I closed my eyes. They arranged an adoption. When? Only days after his birth. I couldn't breathe. My mother lost her son. Rebecca nodded. Against her wishes. I whispered, "Dear God." Michael quietly placed a hand on my shoulder. Rebecca continued. Years later, she married your father. Did he know? Yes. He accepted everything. He loved her completely. Tears filled my eyes. My father knew. He did. What happened after I was born? They never stopped searching. I looked up. What? They hired investigators. Every year. Whenever they could afford it. Why didn't they find him? Adoption records were sealed. So they failed. Rebecca nodded sadly. They never gave up. I looked toward Michael. You knew this? He answered softly. My father told me before he died. And Mr. Harrison? He knew from the beginning. I took a long breath. So everyone protected my mother's promise. Michael nodded. My father promised her that if proof ever appeared, our family would help. Not guesses. Not rumors. Only facts. Exactly. I buried my face in my hands. I accused you. I understand why. I thought you betrayed me. I know. You were protecting my family. We were trying. Lily reached for my hand. Dad. I looked at her. I'm sorry too. I squeezed her fingers. You carried something no child should carry. She whispered. I was scared every day. I know. I hated lying. You were protecting me. I wanted to. I hugged her tightly. I should have trusted both of you. Rebecca quietly waited before speaking again. There is more. I slowly looked up. The adoption agency eventually changed ownership. So, some records survived. My heartbeat accelerated. You found them. I found one. She slid a document across the desk. A name appeared near the bottom. David Walker. I stared at it. Who is David? Rebecca answered gently. The child adopted after your mother's pregnancy. I couldn't finish the sentence. Michael whispered it for me. Your older brother. The room became completely silent. I read the name again. David Walker. My brother. Someone I had never met. Someone who had lived an entire life without knowing me. Without knowing our mother. Without knowing any of us. Does he know? Rebecca shook her head. As far as I can determine, no. He never searched. There is no evidence. Where does he live? She opened another file. A small town 3 hours from here. What does he do? He's a high school history teacher. I smiled sadly. He teaches history. Rebecca nodded. Married. Children. 2 daughters. My eyes filled again. I've had nieces all this time. Lily smiled through her tears. And I have cousins. I laughed softly despite everything. I guess you do. Michael leaned back. Ethan. Yeah. What are you thinking? I looked at the folder. I'm thinking about my mother. Rebecca remained quiet. She spent years searching. Yes. My father searched beside her. He did. They loved someone they couldn't find. Rebecca nodded. They never stopped. I whispered. I judged them without knowing. Michael answered. You didn't know the story. I judged you too. I know. You honored your father's promise. I tried. I almost destroyed our friendship. He smiled sadly. But you didn't. I stood and walked around the table. Without saying anything else, I hugged him. He hugged me back. I'm sorry. So am I. We're okay. We always will be. Lily smiled. I miss seeing you two like this. I laughed. So did I. Rebecca handed me another folder. Everything verified is inside. I carefully accepted it. What happens now? That depends on you. I want to meet him. You should prepare carefully. What if he doesn't want us? Rebecca answered honestly. That is possible. What if he refuses? You will respect his decision. I nodded slowly. He deserves that. Lily looked at me. Will we find him? I smiled. We'll try. Michael added, together. I looked around the room. Only days earlier, I believe I had lost my best friend and my daughter's trust. Instead, I had found something I never imagined. A family story built on love instead of betrayal. Pain instead of deception. Promises instead of lies. The people I blamed had been protecting both me and Lily from a truth too fragile to reveal without proof. Now the proof rested inside my hands. As we walked toward the parking lot, I looked at the folder one more time. Across the top page stood the name that had been missing from my life since before I was born. David Walker, my brother, a complete stranger, and, if fate allowed it, perhaps not a stranger for much longer. I barely spoke during the drive to David's town. The folder rested on my lap. Lily sat beside me. Michael followed behind us again. Finally, Lily whispered, "Are you nervous?" I laughed softly. I've never been this nervous. What if he doesn't believe us? I wouldn't blame him. What if he gets angry? I might deserve it. She squeezed my hand. You deserve a chance. So does he. Rebecca had already contacted David. She told him someone wanted to discuss sealed adoption records. She shared nothing more. When we reached his house, my heartbeat pounded so loudly I could hear it. Michael looked at me. You don't have to rush. I know. We'll stand beside you. I appreciate that. The front door opened. A man with kind eyes stepped outside. You must be Ethan. I am. I'm David. For a moment, neither of us moved. Then he quietly said, "Please come in." We sat around his dining table. His wife smiled politely before giving us privacy. David folded his hands. Rebecca said this concerns my adoption. Yes. I've always wondered. He looked directly at me. Why now? I opened the folder. Because we finally have proof. He frowned. Proof of what? I took a slow breath. My mother gave birth to you years before she married my father. Silence filled the room. David stared at me. I'm sorry. You're my older brother. He blinked several times. No. I slid the documents across the table. My mother never wanted to lose you. He looked down. His hands shook as he read. Minutes passed. Nobody interrupted. Finally he whispered, "She searched for me." Rebecca's research filled every page. Investigator reports, letters, receipts, adoption requests. David covered his mouth. She never stopped. No, I always believed she abandoned me. I felt tears forming. She never did. He closed the folder. My entire life. His voice cracked. I thought nobody wanted me. I reached across the table. She loved you until the day she died. He started crying. So did my father. He wasn't my biological father. No, but he searched for you anyway. David looked at me. Why? Because he loved my mother. He wiped his eyes. I don't know what to say. You don't have to say anything. He suddenly stood. I wondered if he was leaving. Instead, he walked around the table and hugged me. For the first time in my life, I embraced my brother. I'm sorry we found you so late. He whispered, You still found me. Neither of us spoke for several seconds. When we finally sat again, David looked toward Michael. Who are you? Michael smiled gently. My father promised your mother he would protect this story. And you kept that promise. I tried. David nodded slowly. Thank you. Michael looked surprised. You aren't angry. I spent decades without answers. David smiled sadly. I'm grateful someone cared enough to protect the truth until it was real. Those words hit me deeply. I turned toward Michael. I owe you something. You don't. I do. He stayed quiet. I'm sorry. You've already apologized. Not enough. I looked directly into his eyes. I doubted 20 years of friendship. You were hurting. I still should have trusted you. He smiled. If our positions were reversed, I probably would have reacted the same way. I laughed quietly. Maybe. He stood and pulled me into another hug. We're brothers too. I know. And nothing changes that. It won't again. Lily quietly wiped away tears. I smiled at her. What? She sniffled. I have something to say. You don't have to. I want to. She walked toward me. I'm sorry I lied. I gently held her shoulders. You carried something impossible. I still lied. You were protecting people. I hated every second. I know. I thought you stopped trusting me. I was confused. I cried every night. My heart broke again. I never knew. I wanted to tell you. You don't have to carry guilt anymore. She hugged me tightly. I'm glad. David watched us with watery eyes. You have an amazing daughter. I do. She smiled shyly. I guess I have an uncle now. David laughed. I guess you do. The room finally felt lighter. We spent hours sharing photographs, stories, childhood memories, questions that had waited decades. Some answers brought smiles. Others brought tears. None brought regret. As evening approached, David looked around the table. I've spent my whole life wondering where I came from. I nodded. I spent months wondering why everyone was hiding from me. He smiled sadly. And now? Now I understand. Michael quietly asked, Understand what? I looked at every face around me. My mother wasn't hiding shame. No. My father wasn't hiding betrayal. No. You weren't hiding lies. Michael smiled. No. You were protecting innocent people. He nodded. That was always the promise. David added softly, Sometimes truth needs time. I looked at the family surrounding me. For months I believed silence meant betrayal. Now I finally understood something my father and mother had known all along. Not every secret is created by dishonesty. Sometimes people choose silence because they believe love requires patience. Sometimes protecting a heart is more important than satisfying curiosity. The past would never change. My mother would never meet the son she searched for. My father would never see our family reunited. But because of their love, their promises, and the courage of everyone who finally shared the truth, we were no longer separated by silence. We were finally together, and this time, nothing would tear our family apart again. 1 year changed everything. The fear that once filled my home had been replaced with laughter. The silence that nearly destroyed us had disappeared. Today, our entire family gathered in my backyard. Long tables filled the lawn. Children chased each other across the grass. The smell of barbecue drifted through the air. I stood quietly for a moment, watching everyone. Lily walked over carrying 2 glasses of lemonade. You disappeared. I was thinking. Dangerous habit. I laughed. I've heard that before. She handed me a glass. What were you thinking about? Last year. She smiled softly. We've come a long way. We really have. She looked toward the yard. David stood beside Michael, arguing about whose hamburgers tasted better. Lily laughed. They're impossible. They are brothers. So are you. I suppose we are. She leaned against my shoulder. I'm happy. I can see that. I forgot what happy felt like. Those words stayed with me. I'm sorry you carried so much. You already apologized. I'll probably keep apologizing. She smiled. Then I'll keep forgiving you. I hugged her. Deal. A familiar voice interrupted us. Are you two planning to help? Michael carried another tray of food. I grinned. You're doing fine. Easy for you to say. David laughed behind him. He's trying to avoid cooking. I heard that. David smiled. I wanted you to. Watching them joke together still felt unbelievable. Only a year earlier I had doubted both of them. Now I couldn't imagine my life without either one. Michael sat beside me. Quiet again. Just remembering. The investigation. Everything. He nodded slowly. I still wish we'd found proof sooner. I know. I hated watching you suffer. I know that too. I'm sorry. I smiled. You've apologized enough. So have you. I suppose we're even. He laughed. Finally. I looked at him. You know something? What? You're still the brother life chose for me. His eyes watered immediately. That means more than you know. I should have trusted 20 years of friendship. You trusted your instincts. My instincts were wrong. They were incomplete. I've learned the difference. David walked over carrying a photo album. I found something. What is it? Our first family picture. He opened the album. There we stood. Me, Lily, David, Michael, Rachel, Rebecca, everyone smiling together. David pointed at the picture. I never imagined this. Neither did I. He looked at me. I spent decades wondering where I belonged. And now, I don't wonder anymore. I placed my hand on his shoulder. You've always belonged here. His voice cracked. I wish Mom could see this. So do I. And Dad. I nodded. They never stopped searching for you. I know. I'm grateful every day. Lily joined us again. Picture time. Michael groaned dramatically. Again. Yes. We already took 5. We're taking 6. David laughed. She's definitely family. I've noticed. We gathered together. Rachel held the camera. Everyone ready. Michael whispered, "Don't blink." I wasn't planning to. David smiled. I've waited my whole life for this picture. Rachel counted. 3, 2, 1. The camera clicked. For a moment, nobody moved. Then Lily suddenly wrapped her arms around all of us. This is my favorite family. Michael laughed. I hope so. She looked at him. Your family too. He smiled. I've always felt that way. Dinner lasted for hours. Stories replaced old questions. Laughter replaced suspicion. Hope replaced fear. As the sun slowly disappeared, I walked toward the edge of the yard. David joined me. You always wander off. I like thinking. What are you thinking now? I watched Lily laughing with Michael's children. I'm thinking about how close I came to losing everything. You didn't. I almost did. Because of the secret. No. Then why? Because I believed silence always meant betrayal. David nodded thoughtfully. I used to believe that too. I judged people before I understood their reasons. You aren't alone. I nearly lost my daughter. But you didn't. I nearly lost my best friend. But you didn't. I nearly refused to believe my parents loved us. David smiled gently. But now you know. I do. He looked toward the family. They would be proud. I hope so. They would. We stood quietly for another minute. Finally, Lily called, Dad. Coming. Hurry. I am. Don't make us wait. I smiled. I'm done waiting. As I walked back toward the people I loved, I understood something that would stay with me forever. Forgiveness is not pretending pain never happened. It is choosing love after the truth finally comes into the light. My parents' story ended with unanswered prayers. Mine did not. Because I chose to listen instead of accusing. Because Michael chose loyalty over comfort. Because Lily found courage beyond her years. Because David accepted a family he never expected to find. The greatest victory of my life was never uncovering a hidden secret. It was refusing to let that secret destroy the family I nearly lost. And surrounded by laughter, hope, and the people who finally felt whole, I knew that love had been telling the truth all along.